Hey everybody, I'm Justin from Costa Farms, and here in a Plant R Extra, we're going to be answering some of your most frequently asked questions, or FAQs. So let's get started. What's the difference between high and medium light? Great question. In general, in high light, also called bright light, the plant will cast a strong shadow most of the day, at least like 4 or 5 hours. If it casts a medium light or no shadow at all, then it's not bright light. What are those squishy balls in the soil there? Chances are they're time-release fertilizer. We use time-release fertilizer to gently feed your plant over a period of time so that you don't need to worry about having to fertilize it right away when you get it. Concerned whether they're insect eggs? In general, if they're spread throughout the soil, they're going to be fertilizer. Most insects lay their eggs in clumps. How long after I get my new plant should I wait before I repot? Most plants are going to be fine for a year or two after you get them, so you don't need to worry about repotting right away. If you want to give them a new fresh pot, you can do so. In general, we like to recommend waiting about 2 weeks. The petioles on my Philodendron squamiferum are starting to turn green. What's up with that? In general, it probably means your plant could use more light. Lots of bright light is what keeps those pigments nice, bright, reddish purple color. So if you move it to a brighter spot, you should have better coloration again. There's mold growing on the surface of my soil. What should I do? All right, so good news. The majority of the fungi that grow on the soil surface are not pathogens, which means they don't hurt your plant at all. They're simply decaying the organic matter in the soil. So this is actually a good thing. But if you don't want to see it, try keeping your soil a little bit drier, putting a small fan near it so you have better air circulation, and that should stop the fungus from growing. Is it okay to water my plants with tap water? In most cases, that's just fine. If your community has a high level of fluoride in the water, you may see some tip or leaf burn, browning of the edges, on some really sensitive species like spider plant or calathea, but in general, tap water is just fine. If you're really concerned, you can dilute your tap water by mixing it with rainwater, bottled water, distilled water to bring those fluoride concentrations down. How do I know when it's time to repot my plants? So start by slipping your plant out of its pot, taking a look at the root ball. It generally needs repotting when about 75% of the root ball is made of roots that you see circling around the inside. Now here's a tip. When you go to repot, look for the next pot size up, which is going to be about a pot 2 inches wider. You don't want to make a big jump into a giant pot. It could cause some watering issues in the future. Do I need to mist my Geogenanthus to keep the leaf tips from turning brown? Now, you don't really need to mist your geo, although you can if you want to. Humidity is less important than a lot of people think with this plant. It's much more about consistent soil moisture. So if you're not sure, try putting it in a self-watering system. That way it always has access to just the right amount of moisture. You never have to worry about it drying out. What's the deal with growing houseplants on moss poles? So a lot of people like to grow their climbing plants up a moss pole because in the aroid family, plants like Philodendron, Pothos, Monstera, the leaves often get a lot bigger and more fenestrated when you grow them vertically, so it's a fun way to give a cool plant an even more fun look. Why won't my peace lily bloom? Chances are it's not getting enough light. It's a great low light tolerating plant if you just want its foliage. If you really want to enjoy those blooms, you're going to want to put it in a medium to bright spot. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hope you had fun. If you have questions you'd like to see me answer, drop them in the comments or drop me an email at questions@costafarms.com. This has been a Plant R Extra.